we there?
Hey, look like we live like 95.
Streaming live through the internet airwaves on your phone, tablet, or computer on Facebook Live and YouTube. It's time for the Dallas Prospect. Every legend was once a prospect. Here are your hosts, Law Nation, Silver and Blue Nation's Big Game James, and Derek Diamond Dallas Prospect.
Woo! Hey, I like it. I feel so special when he does it like that, too.
Yes, indeed.
Man, how long has it been since we've all been back on the show?
It's been about 3 weeks.
Because G got back from his trip, and then I was immediately gone, and then last week James was out. So yeah, it's been a minute for sure.
It's been a minute.
I done cut my beard off and grew it back. That's how long it's been.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But the A team is back.
Yeah, we in the folds now, man. Shoot, we got to talk this thing, man. What's the first area of topics, or you still guys want to talk about? What's the score right now? Anybody put the score down?
I know Golden State was winning. I can't really see. So jump in, whoever's in Silver and Blue. If y'all listening, Silver and Blue Nation, what's up, everybody over there? Make sure y'all tell whoever get up in this page, Silver and Blue. Let's keep it rolling up in here. Give me a score of this game, because the last time I looked, it was 66-59. Golden State was winning 9 minutes in the third. So give us some updates, please.
Yes, that's usually the quarter Golden State goes off too. So
yeah,
man,
well, I told you, Cavs. I hate the Cavs. I can't stand the Cavs. I hate Cleveland. Everything about Cleveland. But I still feel like LeBron James is going to win this in 7. He's going to will this team. He's going to shut up the critics once again, just to prove that he's one of the greatest ever that we've ever seen do it. And I don't understand the hate on him, man. Like, I really don't. It's like the Dak Prescott. Now, Dak Prescott ain't did what LeBron has, but it's just our fan base and just like people in general don't appreciate greatness from LeBron. You get what I'm saying? And then you have a quarterback. Hate to just mess up the topic, y'all, but it just gets frustrating when you're Cowboys fans and you're supposed to be supporting. And I can understand if he was a bump quarterback. I can understand if he was a Quincy Carter not doing, uneven. Ryan Leaf, Drew Henson. Chad Hutchinson, Vinny Testaverde.
Keep going, brother. Keep going.
John Kidna. Who else did I say?
Tony Banks.
Tony Banks. Yes. Who else? Who was just recently? We just had the two. Brandon Whedon.
Castle.
Those guys,
dude, crumbled like a sandcastle.
Yeah, if you want to get mad at something, let's get mad at those quarterbacks. But if you get a guy that's actually a winner, has a winning record, hasn't had under 60% completion percentage in his whole career in 2 years, and you're still bashing him saying he sucks. First of all, if you say he sucks, I don't want to talk to you in the conversation, because then that tells me you don't even know sports nor football.
Yes, indeed, man. You drop the fire on him, boy.
Big Game James.
It's the truth, man. Keep it real, y'all.
Shout out in the comments, Josh Snyder, David Sieber, sorry.
Sieber,
yeah.
Italian Cowboy, what's up?
Cowboy, what's up, dog?
Oh, that's Italian Cowboy, nice. And then over here we got Marquise, OG Kush, that's a long ass name, man. OG Kush, Cali 2K4, Dim Boys. All right. Yeah.
Yes, what's up, Zach, Katina, Terry, Annette, Zachary, everybody, Dana. Tell everybody else to get up in here so we can talk some damn Cowboys football.
Yeah, it's about that time. Build up. Hey, I got the coldest name in the chat box right now. Savage Time.
Savage Time? I don't know.
Savage Time. That's cold right there.
I got
that. You got to put the emphasis on it, man.
Mammy.
You got to put the emphasis on it.
I told you I got that uncanny ask your mammy. I hope he's in here today. Uncanny ask your mammy.
Yes. Yeah, you need that emphasis, like savage.
Right. Oh yeah, Terry Turner said Mark Sanchez. Yes. Mark Sanchez too.
Oh God. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We didn't had a lot of bums for us to really get mad at why we're saying we got a bum quarterback. I don't think so. I just want him to shut everybody up, man. I just want him to shut that. I just want him to shut people up, man. And I'm telling you, I haven't forgot these names that were bashing him. I haven't forgot y'all names. Y'all think I have, but I've took a mental note of all you bashers that have just straight ripped him and dogged him and said he was trash. Please do not say one thing if he takes us to the playoffs, and please don't say nothing, because I can say something about Jason Garrett, and you can't come back at me and say, "Oh, don't jump on Jason Garrett." I ain't gonna never jump on Jason Garrett's bandwagon because he done had 8 years to prove it. But that come in here in year 3 and maybe does something crazy, then yeah, I don't want to hear none of y'all. We done had 8 years with Garrett, so yeah, I can yell at Garrett now and say, "Ah, yeah, show me." Because you get 8 years. This don't only been there 2.
There you go. There you go, man. Dropping more fire for everybody, man.
Big Game James is ready to bring the fire.
It is, man. Hey.
So one thing for the Cowboys here to just kind of dip into our first topic. One thing Dak Prescott's going to need if he's going to be better this season, he's going to need stable offensive line play. We talked about how last year in the final 8 games, he had 3 total snaps with his combination of Tyron Smith and Zeke Elliott. But now he's got Zack Martin, who's still holding out for contract negotiations. Are you surprised at all that that's still going on?
Go ahead and take it again, Jay.
I mean, I'm surprised because it just seems like they were rolling so good with Tyron Smith, and they rolled so good, and they came with Travis Frederick. You know, they did it right before camp, so it was kind of like I automatically assumed that they were going to roll right with the Zack Martin because, because Zack Martin has come in and did Hall of Fame type numbers. I mean, he's come in and did things that few players have done. Now, I think they're trying to lessen him because, you know, they always say you can get a guard anywhere. You know, you can get guards in 5th and 6th rounds. You can pick up guards, you know, in free agency, and you can roll with those guards, but you always need those bookend tackles. You always need a really good center, you know, so they always try to lessen what a guard is. But to see what he has come in and done in these first 4-5 years of the league, I mean, is ridiculous. You got to pay the man. And I was talking to Tyson. We were and I don't know if it is, maybe it is, but, you know, he's always been like the good soldier. You never hear anything about Zack Martin. He never says anything. He's always doing what the team wants. And I wonder if the team is kind of playing on that. Like, we can kind of get away with this with Zack. We can kind of let this ride because he's kind of the good soldier. And I feel like him sending out the OTAs, yeah, but they need to pay this dude, like, for real. Like, I know it's a lot of money, but they got to figure that out because at the end of the day, he has not missed a game, correct?
Correct. He has not missed a game. And
that's huge in the NFL. Is that not correct?
That's huge, man. And then they got to understand, too, as well, continuity and poise with Travis, too, as well. And then we just now getting number 71, big number 71 together out there on the right tackle. You do not want to put in a new piece. You guys fail to realize, a lot of people fail to realize this right here. Not talking to you two. But people fail to realize there's so much with the offensive line. They have to play in unison. It's a one-unit type of team. And if you don't have the offensive line, you're putting in multiple chairs, putting in multiple people, moving them like multiple chairs like that. It just will not work out there, guys. Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, find money, pull up the couches, dig up under there, find those quarters, find something to pay this man. Because if you don't pay this guy, and now you have that right side of the field wide open for the opposition to crash down on Dak Prescott, and you can snap him up. And now you're talking about the exact same thing what happened last year. It's not going to be nice. We need to go ahead and pay the man.
Right. Zack Martin hasn't missed a game yet. Has he missed a Pro Bowl yet? Like,
I mean, I think he's been a Pro Bowl and All Pro all 4 years.
Exactly. So the Cowboys, what's happening probably is the Cowboys, they work best when they're up against the deadline, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to let this string out right now because it's early in the talks as far as OTAs and all that. Would they rather have him out there? Sure. But he's still working out and everything there. He's just not practicing. Mm-hmm. They're not going to get serious about an offer, I feel like, yet. But the thing is, the floor for him starts at $13.3 million. The floor for his new deal. As we laid out his credentials already, you also add in the fact that he already was an installed leader on this team last year. When they had their leadership council meetings and all of that, like, you know, you have your Wittens, your Sean Lees, he was in that group. They've now given him Witten's old locker. Like, he is the new, like, core leadership member of this team. and you factor in all that, the Cowboys right now, they're probably pitching his agent on like, look, man, we're trying to build, the wall 2.0 here. We're going to have an all-time great offensive line and blah, blah, blah. His agent and him were like, cool, but you're still going to pay. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to cut you some huge. Exactly, because if there was ever a dude who has earned that top dollar, it's Zack Martin. Like, there's no way. Dude goes about his business quietly, but he goes about it in dominant fashion. As far as the overall score for Zack Martin compared to other offensive linemen for us, I think he is rated by Pro Football Focus as the number 1 lineman for us. And like, there's no way you could ever suggest that he should be cutting us a hometown deal just out of the goodness of his heart, because you never know what your career is going to be, man. He could blow out knock on wood, he could blow out a knee this year.
That's what I'm saying.
Then you got to get your money, dude. He's coming off a rookie deal. Like, get your money, pay the man. He's earned it. Let's get back to business and let's get back into the playoffs.
Yes, indeed.
And plus, we also need to realize what, just like you mentioned, Law, about the debacle with Atlanta, with Tyron Smith going out and then Chaz Green. We also got to see who's running with the first team at right guard. Is Chaz Green is our starting right guard right now. You got the starting lineup of Travis Frederick, Williams, Connor Williams, Chaz Green, La'el Collins, and then Fleming was starting because on the veteran day for Tyron Smith, but Tyron Smith is a starter. Obviously, he has nothing wrong with him. So, not saying that Chaz Green, we don't know. We all know what the debacle, but guess what? He's back in there in the starting lineup at right guard. So if we're worried about that still, it's still in our face, him being a starter. So we definitely want Zack Martin back there because we don't want to deal with that drama. I mean, why have to deal with anything like that? We want to keep all our starters in there healthy and keep this machine moving. And at the end of the day, just like I agree with DDP, at first, I'm frustrated about it, but I just feel like they're gonna pay this dude. He's not gonna go anywhere. That would be one of the most stupidest things in the world, that he gets to walk. So he's gonna get his money. And just like I said, there's no rush. It's OTAs. It's about to be June. Training camp, August. You still got a couple more months for them to get negotiations together, to get them numbers, and agree with you again, DDP. Dallas always waits to that last kind of minute, and then they strike that deal.
You remember how they used to not sign their rookie class until right before training camp?
Right, and they got everybody this time.
Same deal.
Everybody signed.
Now this year they did. I just meant like they have a history with that kind of thinking.
Because they always had that. Remember, they always had that third round drama. We always like, why is the third rounder always having a long time to sign in camp? He was like always the last guy. It was always the third round pick. But it was good to see that it was a big thing when Michael Gallup, who was our third round pick, signed. It got everybody clear mind. And I think if you look at our draft with a lot of the guys, you got almost all these guys could possibly that were drafted could make the roster. You don't know because there's no solidified spots besides the offensive line. You got your defensive line, but even that's still, you really just got your offensive line and Zeke and Dak. Everything else is wide open.
All right. And look, shout out to the Italian Cowboy. Let me ask you guys this. He said, what about this for Zach? 8 years, 120 million, 15 million a year.
He'd take it. Like I said, the ground is 13-3. That would put him as the highest paid, I think, guard at that point. And he's deserving of that. Would he? Yeah, 15 million. He's probably earned that. Definitely. But I mean, if I'm the Cowboys, I'm going to try and keep it around that 13-3. But if I'm Zach, I'm going to try and go there. So I say compromise, meet somewhere around 14 if you have to.
I don't think he should be getting, 15 million, that's a lot. I mean, I don't know. We don't need to be out there breaking records or something as far as signing. We don't need to do all that. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to stay good. So I know we got that vote. You want to keep them happy. You want them happy, but I mean, I think you should. If you're an NFL player, 13 million a year, you got to be happy with that, Zach.
You gotta be happy.
A guard, you gotta be happy with that.
For how many years? You gonna hit him with the 8 and a 9 year deal, or?
I mean, but how old is he right now? About 25, 26?
I'll give it to you.
So I know he's probably about 26. Now you gotta look.
He might be younger than 26, huh?
27, bro.
27 already? Is he older than Tyron?
Exactly. No, yeah, I think Tyron is like 26 or 27 because remember Tyron came in at 19.
Man, that's crazy, huh?
Tyron Smith also 27, and get this, 1 month almost to the day younger.
Wow.
He was 19 when he came, because that was the big deal. But look, check this out, Law.
Lightning fast research, DDP.
Yes, beastie. That's why I love you. That's why I was like, man, I ain't got to look up these stats because I know DDP right there. But look, so I'll check this out. And DDP, if Zach is 27 now, guards can kind of play long in the NFL. You can get a guy that's 35, 36. You can still play at that position because of your short area. So you don't have to, you can get away with certain things as a guard. So you can play a little bit longer. Whether as like a tackle, you always see those guys kind of leave early because they get them leg injuries.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Because they got to get out in traffic more.
Exactly.
So you're saying maybe they could look at something like a 6 or 7 year deal to kind of spread the money a little bit.
Yeah, maybe a shorter type deal. That way you can maybe spread that money and
hit them with a high guarantee, but spread out the per year caps.
Yeah, I mean, because they're never going to see the life of these guys that are signing now in the NFL doing these 2 and 3 year deals now, because they know they're not. If they sign a 9-10 year deal, you're not seeing the life of that contract. You're not. It's not going to happen. They're either going to renegotiate it, or you're probably going to get cut.
Yeah, and another thing
Kush would like to point out.
Yeah,
OG Kush would like to point out that if we flipped Big Game James's scream to the middle, we would have the Mexican flag.
Hey, man.
I like it.
Look at his background here. I might have to pull it down, man. But
I told him that's some next level observational shit, man.
Yes, indeed. One time somebody said it like Laws inside of a watermelon, man. Man, I'm gonna have to get me a green screen. Yeah, but the thing is why we saying that Zack Martin need to go ahead and get paid and go ahead and get out there is because we don't want these hamstring issues to happen. We don't want him to be out of shape. Not saying that he's not working out, he's not putting his body into work.
Oh, he's lifting.
We saying he's lifting, of course, but we need him to be out there on the field. I do know this OTAs, but kickoff is in 97 days before kickoff, right?
Yeah.
That's right around the corner.
And you can work out all you want to, but you not being out there on the actual field, that's how you get those hamstring injuries, because no matter how much you train, no matter how much you do on the outside, it's not that football. It's not on the field. It's not that type of work. And when you just go out there after you just training, that's when you pull something easy. You really don't see it big in the linemen. You see it big in the receivers and the cornerbacks. When those guys hold out and they don't go to OTAs, the first thing it is, you see them pull a hammy. They do a quick move and hamstring pull because they're not out there every day. That's the way those guys you always see that happening to.
Yeah, it happened to my guy last year. I was high on him, number 55. What's that guy? Pia snapped up everything on his leg. I forgot his name. Stephen Paella.
Stephen Paella. Yeah.
Hey, look at the first.
Sounded like a pastry.
Cheeto's hit. What happened with Cheeto? He had his hamstring. What? How many games did he?
Yeah. He missed like a third of the year, man, wasn't it?
Yeah, and what happened? Because he wasn't really training. He because he graduated from Colorado. Remember, they got prohibited. He couldn't practice like the other guys because they have that prohibit. You know the word. I'm not saying it's kind of coming out my mouth right.
Prohibited.
Yeah, you know it. So he had a learning curve, and then he came in hamstring. Jordan Lewis missed the first few because of his trial. Came in hamstring.
Ain't nothing to play with, man. And I think that we've been hit with the curse of the hamstring. So I don't know what it is. I don't know what's causing it, but that could be the case in the scenario right there. Mm-hmm. What's the next topic, man?
Yo, I got Mr. David Cyber here asking what the deal is with David Irving.
Belly Irving, that's his new name, babe.
Yo.
What? How many months he pregnant by?
Oh man.
I don't know. Like I said, we talked. How many shows ago did we talk about this Law and DDP? How many shows ago when we didn't know if they was going to sign him to that tender? Remember we had this show when we were talking about we didn't know if he was going to sign him to the tender. And what did we talk about? Red flag.
You used the word goofy.
Yes, he's goofy.
Expound on that, man. Go ahead and break it down. Why he's goofy?
He's a goofy dude. Like, okay, there's people out there when you just meet them and when you talk to them, you just look at them like you're spacey. You're just a spacey dude. Like, I don't feel like I could have regular conversations with you because you'd be like, that's spacey to me and that's goofy to me. Like, I said, let me follow his Instagram. And then when I followed his Instagram, ain't nothing wrong with partying, but it's just you like to party a lot. And then when you're talking, you're always like, hey, yeah, I don't get that kind of stuff. So that lets me know that you don't seem like you work hard. Okay, when I see those type of traits, and then I go see on the field, and what is the main thing they always saying with him? What is the thing they're always saying about David Irving? Consistency. Doesn't put forth all the effort all the time. And once again, you come in. We understand you had a situation with your baby's mom. We can feel that. But David Irving, you signed a 1-year tender. This is your money. This is your livelihood. This is that's going to help you take care of your daughter. You just got custody. It's going to help you take care of your daughter. Sign a long-term deal. So wouldn't you come in here prepared, in shape, motivated to get that big contract, and to see you coming in with a belly, coming in, it's always something with you. And that's why the Dallas Cowboys aren't signing you to a long-term deal right now, because you're goofy. And they've been saying it in the headquarters that you don't put forth the effort all the time. You're just a really talented player, but that doesn't get you in the NFL, because there's a lot of really talented NFL players. But if you don't put forth that effort and work, you're going to be out just like all the rest.
See, I think it's more than that even. Like, the phrases that we've heard from inside the Star have described him off the field as a ticking time bomb. And we saw some of that drama nearly blow up recently with his now ex-girlfriend. It's flip-flops back and forth, basically his baby mama. And, after he dumped her for good again, she tried throwing stuff out there again. And this time it didn't blow up to be a big story. But I think all his off-the-field stuff has distracted him for sure. And it's to the point where, Garrett's calling him out, saying he's been sporadic in his attendance for off-season workouts. Dude, you're in a 1-year situation. They haven't given you a long-term deal. And this is like a huge year for you. He was pissed but he served his 4-game suspension to start last year. And then he missed the final 4 games of the season with a concussion. So he played half the season last year. He showed out big with 7.5 sacks, but he still missed half the season for one reason or another. This is now a 1-year, here's your tender, go out and get your money, whether it's with us or not. It's that kind of year for him. And he's not focused. He's not showing up to off-season workouts. And then when he shows up to OTAs, he's out of shape. Like, dude, what are you doing? You know what I mean? That's the kind of stuff that I think kept the Cowboys very fairly and understandably unwilling to commit to him long term, at least from everything they've seen as of today.
Yeah, so let's walk everything back, right? Because that's a good points right there, DDP. He missed the first 4 games due to pretty much PED. Yep. He said his sponsor, whatever, said this product was good to go, and it found out that it wasn't good to go. So he was getting buffed up and ripped up on some, I guess, PED situation. He came in and played, 8 games, 7 games, something like that. Pretty much during that span, he had 7 sacks. That's a lot of production, right? Got a concussion, didn't play for the last 4 whatever games. So we look at that whole thing right there, right? But the other thing that I want to point out too is well, during this same time last year, D-Law was out of shape. He showed up bigger than what he's supposed to be. But I thought that D-Law said, okay, this is my contract year. I want this money. I want this pepper. I want this cheese. I'm going to go out here and show you guys that I'm worth the ink. I'm worth the dirt out there. So D-Law changed it around. I don't know what D-Law production is going to be this year. But I for damn sure know that if David or Irving want that type of production that D-Law did last year, he's going to have to turn that light switch on, and he's going to have to roll them sleeves up, get that belly fat down, don't have to be belly Irving, take the nose ring off, nipple, or whatever he got the nose ring at, and just get out there and play and ball. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see the nipple ring. I don't want to see the nose ring. I want to see this guy get out there and ball. That's what he need to do.
That's when you know business is getting serious, when you got to take off the nipple ring, hold my nipple ring. I got to go get the quarterback.
But here's my problem, with this. It's the frustrating part is that we're trying to build something great. The Dallas defense, the Dallas defense especially is trying to build something great, and you're one of the key pieces that can really make this defense great. Yes. And with us all knowing that, and yet you're still not taking the step forward to be the leader of a team because you've been with the team, what, 3 years now?
Yeah.
You should be looked in the eyes of a younger player as a leader now. But once again, you're still coming in out of shape. Once again, you're coming in undependable. And to me, that's what speak volumes. That's why, once again, they call them red flags. They red flagged you in college. And there's a reason why they red flagged you. And those flags are coming up again. And if I was an owner, I don't want to pay a player who seems perceived to me lazy
Right.
because that's what it seems to me David Irvin is. He seems like he has the great talent, but he's lazy. And you got some players that try to live off that, and teams will let you kind of get away with that. We saw Albert Hainsworth. He's a perfect example how the kid was just nasty, but lazy, attitude, didn't care. And he got that money. And as soon as he got that money, what happened? You know what I mean? So that's why the Cowboys are like, we ain't paying you these buku dollars because you're already out of shape now. Why would we pay you money? And this is a contract type year for you, and you're coming out of shape. Why would we throw like millions at you? Now with the DeMarcus Lawrence situation, I feel like he did come in. He shut me up because I didn't think he was a 10 sack guy. Because in 3 years you had 9 sacks. So I didn't believe you were a 10 sack guy. I was excited when they first drafted you and you just disappointed me and you disappeared a lot of times. So I didn't believe you, and you had the back injuries, you had the drug situation. So I didn't believe you. He came in, like you said, Law. He came in, wanted to get that check. He wanted to get that money. He came in and show and prove. Now you on that year deal, and he said, hey, I'm cool with it. I got some money. I'm trying to get more money. So I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at it because this is a business, and this they do want to take care of the outside in their family. So if that's what motivates him, do by all means. If that what motivates you to get money, then get that money and get these sacks and help this team win. David Irvin, you need something to motivate you because you're being a cripple to our team right now. Because who else do we have that's like him?
So one quick thing to add on to that, and this would not be a defense of him at all. I'm just stating that up front. Do you think the fact that we only tendered him as opposed to giving him a long-term deal is part of what led to him not working as hard as he needed to in the offseason?
Nope, because since I've seen him day one, the biggest thing that they've always said with David Irvin is consistency. And the reason why they're saying consistency, so if you're not consistently playing on the field all the time, why? Why are you subbing? Why aren't you not starting? Why are you not dominating? Because it's got to be that practice stuff. That's why I was telling you, Law and DDP, I need to get to them practices myself. I want to see this stuff myself because too many times, just like when you seen the DeQuinton Osborne, that's a whole different subject. It was just quick. DeQuinton Osborne gets cut, right? Everybody was jumping up like, why are we cutting him? See, that's why Dallas is all messed up. But how do we know? You got to go at that practice and see. Maybe he wasn't fitting the system. Maybe the reason why he did get undrafted, there's a reason why these guys get undrafted. And maybe those things showed up. There's a reason why you have that talent and you went 7 rounds and nobody touched you.
It's the intangibles, the things that you just can't see.
Right, and we're not seeing that stuff. We're not seeing that, and unless we see that, we're going on a blind eye. We're going by somebody else's eye. That's why I want to be able to go there and see my own damn eye and say, yeah, I see why your ass got cut.
And it could be, Rob Marinelli, what he runs, a 1-gap or a 2-gap system? What would he run? I think he runs more of a 1-gap, right?
Yeah, I mean,
shoot the gap, and I think
that gap because he relies on those front 4. That's why he don't ever like to blitz.
Right. So he's shooting that 1 gap. And with that being said, one thing I can see off of I won't say A'Shawn Robinson. Oh, Lord, please forgive me. One thing I do see off of Antoine, what's his guy's last name? Antoine Woods. He's explosive off his release. Now, he don't have the strength of the guy, DeQuinton Osborne. Of course, I don't know DeQuinton Osborne playing against NFL talent, but what I'm seeing off of film and tape is that he didn't have the strength. He get walked back sometimes, but I do see the get off of the stance. And another thing too, as well, when you're playing the 1-gap system too, as well, is that he will not be playing every down. This guy's going to come in as a rotational piece, and he's going to come in probably get you by 4 or 5 snaps a game, believe it or not, or less.
You're right.
So he might come in fresh, fourth quarter, fresh, late third quarter, and he might can get some pressure up that middle seam, and then he's just going to be a good rotational piece after you had your D-Laws of the world, and maybe you swing in the Price. We can talk forever on the defensive line.
We got a lot of guys.
We got a lot of guys, man. And of course, if Randy
it's a nice feeling
out there, it's a good thing to have.
When's the last time, you know, and we talked about it, because it seems like the last few years we've always had some kind of suspension on the players that we get excited. We're like, oh my God, these guys are suspended. We know we got this defense that we can make it happen. Something happens. Now you got one of the first times that it looks like there's going to be no suspensions from this D line. Nothing's really going to be happening right now, and that's why I guess I'm frustrated with David Irving, because it's like, dude, do you see how good we can be? If Randy Gregory gets reinstated, you got to motivate DeMarcus Lawrence to get more money. You probably got to motivate Randy Gregory to shut everybody up, and he is the real deal. Then you got a Dorrance Armstrong Jr. who seems like he wants to just come in and set the world on fire. Taco Charlton, who's saying, hey, I'm feeling my groove, and I'm going to step up, and I'm watching how D-Law did it his second year and got 8 sacks. You know what I'm saying? You got so many guys coming in. You got Coney Ely, who we ain't even talking about right now.
Right.
It's fierce and competitive. Tapper, I don't know. I don't even want to talk about you, Tapper. I kind of just gonna leave you on the outside in right now. But for everybody else, I'm excited because we finally seem like we have what we've been waiting for so long.
Just don't get in our way. We cannot get in our way. We can't be going around talking about, well, it's the schedule. Well, it's Roger Goodell. No, right now it's us. We have to figure out a way to not get these silly stuff like suspension of hitting, slapping a woman across the face allegedly, or not taking the wrong medicine or what have you. Even if you want to take a Tylenol, go to the doggone what's the guy that's on our team, the drug guy on our team, to make sure that everybody just make sure they're taking the right stuff. We got those guys on our team, right? They can scan everything and say, okay, this is aficionado. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, let's just say the nutritionist.
The nutritionist. You know, I couldn't think of the name, but we need to go to that nutritionist and say, okay, can I take this Tylenol, sir? You know, because I got a headache. We need to go figure out everything, because this year I want us to play our team. Last year, I feel like we shortchanged ourselves. We didn't have our best players out there, and guess what happened? A 9-7.
Well, I did, and another thing with that law, I just feel like we aggressive. I think that's what I'm excited about, what Chris Richards bring to the fold. And I got a question from Terry Turner. I'm gonna ask you guys right quick, but. I think the biggest thing to me is the aggressiveness. I want us aggressive. That was our problem. I read in an article where Richard is talking about where he's teaching these guys are playing that press. You're playing that side, that sidekick technique. And then and Anthony Brown said something that kind of stuck in my head. He said that I love what we're doing because, you know, it seems like we're more accountable, because when we were out there before, we were kind of just doing our own thing.
Yeah, and that's the message that he drove home earlier.
That threw me off. Like, what? You're out there playing coverage or playing a press, or you're playing cover 2, cover 3, and you're just doing what you want? Where's and then, you know, just some of the coaches, just when you saw Sean Lee, when he got on to Coach Joe Baker, when that play messed up and he said, no, coach, that ain't what you're supposed to do. I can't do the 7 under 2. I can't do both of them. And the coach just looked at him like had no answer.
Yeah, he was baffled in a sense.
He looked like he was baffled, like he couldn't answer him back. So if I'm seeing that with the games, I'm seeing why we had issues as well. So we got to look at. It was really good bringing in that good coaching with Sanjay Lai and Chris Richard and Paul Alexander. I'm glad those guys have come in, because they're going to really coach these guys, because it looks like the coaching has been lacking when I see what these guys were saying. Now you get these guys that can coach them up and discipline. Now you're going to see us be able to roll and do what we do. Because how many times have we still seen guys making mistakes in that secondary, and we're like, 3rd and 7, we got them, and then there's a long 20-yard play, and we're like, what the hell, man?
Takes a bad angle. Yeah.
And everybody, I want you guys to go back and listen to that first Chris Richard interview when he said, each one teach one. And he said it's not just about accountability, it's about dependability too as well. That speaks volumes. That meaning that I told you guys, when he speaks, I shut the hell up. that means he's speaking volume to the guys, and it means so much because now we can sit back and say, okay, not saying that the Joe Bakers of the world, because we know Joe Baker wasn't talking like that, but we're not saying that Joe Bakers of the world was not doing this. But now we can see this guy's talking about, hey, you know who your assignments are. You know what your assignment is. Now you have to take your man out so that this safety can come down and crash down on the box or come down and hit the player, or when this guy get blown out of protection or whatever may happen, that he's going to say, okay, you missed your assignment. What happened? We addressed that issue right then and there. We don't have to wait 3 or 4 weeks for this to be addressed. I like that. Accountability, dependability, those things speaks volumes to me.
Yeah, and that's what makes your team better. I just got a quick question from Terry Turner. He asked, and this surprised me, but then I forgot. It's this OTAs ain't a big deal, but you know it was a kind of a big deal when you had Cheeto starting out there. I think he was the left corner, Byron Jones was the right, and then you had Anthony Brown starting in the slot, and Jordan Lewis was running with the second team. Anything? What do y'all think about that? Anything to it?
No, it's OTAs. I mean, I think that's just kind of rolling with. So if you're from Richard's standpoint, you're going to roll with the guys that look more maybe prototypical to what you're wanting. But there's so much time for Jordan Lewis to prove himself and to move into a starting lineup. If I know we're very high on him and think he probably could. There's so much time. I'm not even concerned with him in OTAs not being there yet.
He ain't gonna start. His if he was starting last year, he ain't starting this year because I feel like Richard has already put it in his head that he's gonna make Byron Jones something. So if he's gonna make Byron Jones something, he's gonna have to start him. And Cheeto, I mean, the everybody's looking for stardom from him, and it looks like he has the swag right now. If you look at more than anybody on that team as far as the secondary, Cheeto has the most swag on that team as far as the cockiness. It seems like he's kind of taking over like this is my team. And Xavier Woods is like the X factor the guy you ain't hearing about, but it's going to be, I think Xavier Woods, I posted that article again today, had a good 35 likes. Appreciate y'all liking that article. Thank you, DDP, for showing me that again. But I think X-Man cometh. That X-Man is going to, hey, Xavier Woods, I'm getting excited about him, man. If you watched him in college and Law, you had that damn good video of Xavier Woods, man. Them videos was explosive. And you saw what he was doing. He was a playmaker, man. He was a playmaker. And Richard, I don't think hypes people. And when you see what he said about him, I really feel like Xavier Woods is going to get every chance to show improve, and I think he is. Everybody's saying he looked good.
Yeah, he was the smartest guy on his team at Louisiana Tech.
3-time academic All-American.
Mm-hmm. So the people don't sweep that under the rug. And then he said he's a sideline guy. He's instinctive. He's explosive. He will make plays out there. Look at the interception that he did against Atlanta.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, with Xavier Woods, something people forget about him. So they got him in the 6th round. They wanted to take him initially. They highly debated taking him in the 4th.
Right.
And ended up going with Switzer instead. And then when they realized he didn't get picked in the 5th, they traded back up to the top of the 6th to be able to get him there because they knew he wasn't going to fall any further than that. So
we really lucked out with him.
Because some people who are skeptical of all the hype around him, and mostly because of Chris Richard and what he could bring to his development, they don't look at it that way. They're just like, well, he was a rookie last year and he was a 6th round rookie at that. So why should we be that, hyped up about him? I think he's much better than his draft grade shows. That's not always indicative of it. He came from a smaller school and was a 4-year guy versus a 3 sometimes. I mean, for the Cowboys, they actually tend to like that for the most part, but some teams look at that in a more of a negative light, I think. So yeah, by all means, he's talent-wise a 3rd, 4th round kind of grade guy, and that was just as a prospect, not even his development.
Yeah, I mean, DDP, you spitting fire too. I'm gonna be quiet.
Nah, DDP, he getting it in, man. Hey, a lot of times people are just married to their draft grades, draft status, or what round they was drafted to. A lot of people say, okay, well, he's 5th round. He's 5th round.
Yo, hey, for anyone interested, we got a 1-point game with a minute left. Warriors up 1.
Hey, what did I tell y'all? I mean, I'm trying to tell y'all, LeBron James, y'all ain't listening to me. Y'all are not listening to me. LeBron James is going to win this final. I hope Ari recorded me because I kept my recording. I did not delete it because guess what? When
you were
they
on
won,
there.
let me tell you something. The year that they came back when they were down 3-1, I predicted that because that's when I started media school, and I predicted I got it still written. I actually did it on my iTunes. I mean, not my iTunes, the SoundCloud. I actually put it on SoundCloud, and I called 7 games. And I said they were going to come back and win, and they did. And I called it again, and it's going to happen again.
Hey,
Okay.
guys, Cleveland just took the lead with 50 seconds left.
I'm trying to tell you.
Oh man,
I'm trying to tell you. I called this. You better check my video out because you know what Ori did. He got in my. He was like, just say something like, Golden State in 5, and I was like, hell no, Golden State ain't winning this, dog. Y'all all think Golden State is gonna win. This is what LeBron James feeds off of, dog. This is why he's a monster. When everybody doubts him, that's when he shuts everybody up. Y'all don't know this by now?
Yes,
If you guys want to check it out, check out Phantom. Ari Timken put out a video where it was basically Phantom family giving their 2018 NBA Finals predictions. It features Law, James, and I all on there at some point. James, I think you're around the 8-minute mark in the video. I can't recall. Law, I forget your point as well. I know I'm at 3. I only saw the video through once. I was at like 3 minutes or something.
Yeah,
hey, I called it. Y'all somebody gonna need to pay me money because it's gonna be Finals MVP again.
Uh-oh. So let me know, man. I'm ready
man.
for this thing, man.
Hey man, I already went full NWO Hulk Hogan. I can't really make a bigger fool of myself at this point.
Yeah.
If you smell what the law is cooking.
Look, Vondell
what the
told me
law
LeBron,
is cooking.
But Vondell told me LeBron got 46 and 15. Man, are you serious?
Shout out to Vaj Lombardi, man. He said basketball with some question marks on it, man.
I don't care. Hey, this is the Finals, big dog. Go ahead on, Vaj.
We can take a moment to chime in on that with the score.
Anyway, go ahead, give me a Cowboys Tiger. Vaj.
Yes, guys, you guys have me break it down basketball.
Let's talk about some Rico Gathers.
Oh,
yes, sir.
Speaking of basketball,
let's talk about some Rico Gathers.
That is what we call a segue.
I like that.
Rico, man. What did Coach had to say about Rico, DDP? Cavs winning. That's what somebody said.
Okay,
go. I'm trying to get that out of my mind. Go ahead and tell me about Rico, man.
I got a slight paraphrase on it because I can't remember it off of memory here. But basically, Jason Garrett said that he is progressing, but basically, even if he practiced 5 times a day at this point, even if he was practicing 5 times a day, it's not going to be enough. What he needs, the implication of that, some people have kind of shown the first part of that quote, making it sound like he's nowhere near ready. Really, what he's getting at is suggesting that he needs actual game experience if he's going to keep developing at this point, because it's just a different animal trying to replicate practice and compare it to an actual game feel, which we know he's never played an actual regular season game. So there's where that connection comes from. I think that if he's not able to make the roster this year, I don't know that there's any reason to really keep him around at this point, because this is year 3 since he's been drafted. And other than 2 preseason games, we haven't really seen a hell of a lot from him. He's got all the physical tools needed to be that guy, like that kind of dominant tight end. But there's questions about his commitment to the sport and everything like that. He seems much more interested in all of his other things he's got going, his music and all that. So I don't know. I'd like to see him. I think he can be a really dynamic
football
weapon.
play for his rap career.
Yep, exactly. I think he could be a really dynamic weapon, but we got to see that he's committed first and that he's willing to keep learning and growing. I think Garrett was kind of putting the ball in his court, so to speak, as far as like, look, we like what we see, but you gotta go take it. You gotta earn it. So it's on him.
This is the thing right here. I know I've spoken about this before. I got hit by a lot of people when I said that the Dallas Cowboys like to coddle their players. I said that on Instagram. I got waves of people saying, no, Dallas Cowboys don't coddle their players. When they knew that they was mathematically eliminated from the playoff last year, if anything, you bring them up and you say, okay, I'm going to put Rico Gathers out there and I'm going to see what he can do out there on the field. My thing is, the quarterback position is the hardest. Then you have the center. Then you have your tight end, the third hardest position to learn. What if this right here, guys? What if Rico Gathers is just a gamer? Sometimes you just don't practice well, and you can just get out there on the game, and all of a sudden you say, "Man, this guy's just doing everything."
They say that about Dak.
Right. So we would never know. We would never know because he may not just be a practice guy. He may just be one of those guys that you put him down in the red zone and he just clicks for him. And I look at it with the preseason games, scouting one-on-one always saying, this big game, James, if you've seen it before, you can see it again. And my thing is 6'7", 6'8". Some reports show that he's 6'8.5". You just can't make
so basically he like a Julius Thomas then.
Julius Thomas, but pretty much, I guess, a little bit bigger, right?
Just bigger, just a bigger version, because Julius Thomas, to me, was just a gamer. He wasn't really a great player. Peyton Manning was just so great. Yeah, Peyton Manning. But Julius Thomas, you saw when he went somewhere else, what did he do? He fell off. He wasn't a great football player. He was just probably one of them players that you get him inside that 20-yard line, and that's where you get him the ball. You ain't throwing to Julius Thomas all the time unless you have an excellent quarterback. Maybe you're right. Maybe he just is a gamer. But what do you do with that, Law? Because you got a guy named Blake Jarwin that is still turning heads. Everybody's talking about Blake Jarwin. I saw him last year, and I was like, who is that kid? I remember when I kept seeing, I was like, who is that kid? And then he got hurt, and then I was Blake Jarwin. I was like, and then I was like trying to find out where he came from, Oklahoma State. And then they still talking about him this year. They were saying, who's looking good? Brian Broaddus, Blake Jarwin, everybody in the front
Stephen
office.
Jones.
I don't think they're all just pumping him up because I actually seen him in camp, and he does look good. I went back and watched tape. He's a good blocker. He had a touchdown the other day with Cooper Rush running with the second team. They said he's looking real good out there, and they're saying, how they want to see how he looks with, when he puts the pads on with blocking. I was watching him at Oklahoma State. They played a game. I can't remember the team. I'm sorry. But he was definitely putting nothing but blocks. He only caught 2 passes. Matter of fact, he caught one and he fumbled after he got hit. So I didn't want to. I was going to show the video until he got smacked and he fumbled.
I mean, he is an Oklahoma State player.
I said, hell no, I'm not showing that video because they're like, really? So I didn't show that because he got smacked. But he did hella block. He's a good blocker. And then I think the Schultz kid is really going to surprise. I think he came from Stanford. I think he's a better receiver than it plays out to be. He's a hellified blocker. And Swain, we saw what he can do. He wasn't never a great receiver at Texas, but he was serviceable and he's a good blocker. So with Cowboys system, no matter what it is, you got to be able to block. So if they're going to keep Rico, bring him in just on situational downs, then as soon as he comes in, he better make plays.
Yeah. Jarwin, his name was first brought up, or not first brought up, but when asked on a radio interview with, I think it was 105.3 The Fan, shortly after the draft, the first name that came up for Cowboy tight ends was Blake Jarwin by Stephen Jones. And interestingly enough, the last tight end he mentioned was Rico Gathers, and that was under the premise of Rico's still a work in progress. So yeah, Jarwin, as far as I'm concerned, right now he's your penciled-in starter. After that, I would say you're probably looking at Dalton Schultz, who I really like him as far as a blocking tight end. I think in the immediate, he almost feels more like the James Hanna replacement because Hanna was a pretty good blocker. But I think
he's a better receiver.
That's what I was going to say is I think long-term, no one's going to replace Witt, right? But he can at least develop more into a receiving tight end to go with that, whereas Hanna felt always, even at OU, felt very one-dimensional to me in that regard.
Well, like I said, we're going to see. I told you my surprise if y'all asked me my surprise cut, it was Rico. I'm going to still stay with it. I don't want him cut or anything like that. I want to see him play to his potential. People like, oh, don't jump on him when he playing good. Like I can jump on him if I want to. If he catching touchdowns, I'm gonna be like, touchdown, Rico Gathers. You damn right, I'm gonna be screaming it, and I don't give a hell if you like it or not. But I'm not jumping on the train anymore with him because every time I hear him, he's just talking. All I hear is talk, talk, talk. I want to see you on the field. I want to see you making these plays. You're saying that you're this most dynamic guy we ain't never seen before. Then get on that damn field and show it. Or the coaching staff, we got to see it. It's year 3. They paid you some good money on that first year deal to keep you there. So show and prove now, man. We ain't got time for the funny stuff no more. We got to get in these playoffs and championships. So I don't want to hear no more of the excuses. Get on the damn field and make the plays. If you're not making the plays, then hell, move on. We ain't gonna die because Rico ain't on the team. If you go somewhere and succeed, that's great. But really, he's never played football anywhere else. Do you really think if we cut him, he's gonna go somewhere and blow up? I don't know that.
You're speaking a lot of volumes here, man. That's good, man. Because Julius Thomas is still out there on the streets, right?
Yeah, come on.
So he's not gonna pick up nobody. So we know that Rico is not gonna just get picked up real quick. Another thing that I want to bring into light too as well, what's interchangeable with the tight ends is the fullback. We got Jameis Olawale, and we saw the crowded backfield that we have in running back. They done picked up Darius Jackson. That's his last name, right? Darius Jackson, right?
Yes.
They signed him. They picked him up, and I was kind of upset when we got rid of him. And we kept up Darren McFadden, and then didn't even put Darren McFadden out there on the field. A whole bunch of crazy stuff that we done did. So with that being said, with the running back field just all crowded as it is, and the tight end field is all crowded, there's only one football. So right. What do you think this philosophy is going to be, Big Game?
Well, we keep on hearing the
overtime.
Dak Conley. Yeah, that's what I heard too. Everybody, they ain't even listening to us no more. They just watching this damn game.
Hold on. Let me check and see how many people watch.
They ain't even watching us no more. No, they all talk about the game. I think somebody's just throwing in a Cowboys comment to make us feel good, but they all.
That's okay, man. We got.
That's okay, Wade, man. It was my fault because DDP and y'all wanted to do it Wednesday. I said no, let's do it Thursday. Not even thinking it was the damn finals because I was like.
We up against the finals, baby.
Yeah, and
Thursdays work for us moving forward, though. It's rough. It might be a little rough tonight, but we're good moving forward.
It's funny because when you called me DDP, I was out there watching the game. I was like, damn it.
This is where you was, huh?
I cannot tell a lie.
You scandal out of flavor.
I am so sorry. I do apologize.
But we still got some soldiers in the house that want to hear about
But let me jump on what you were saying, Law, about the offense. Ezekiel Elliott said there's going to be more wrinkles in the offense. They all say that type of stuff, but I feel like there is going to be more wrinkles because we don't have to rely on Witten. We don't have to force feed Dez. We don't have to force feed those guys. So there's going to be spreading around the ball. So if there's going to be more spreading around the ball.
Hold on before you go any further. Yeah, he said it. We don't have to force feed Dez. Now go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. or Jason Witten, because that was his first look. Turn and look at Dez. So I don't care what y'all say. That's what it was. So now he doesn't have to worry about that. And I don't care. I've seen those games when Dak didn't have Dez, and I'm not bashing Dez because he gone. I was saying it when he was there. When Dez was hurt, Dak played free. He played like he didn't have to worry about somebody barking in his ear. And those are the games I was like, damn, Dak is really throwing that ball. I'm just saying. It just seemed like that was always happening. He had more freedom. And now you got these guys that are young and hungry that are out to try to prove themselves because everybody's bashing us, saying we have the worst receiving core. These young guys are trying to play with a chip on the shoulder. So I just think it's going to be a lot of quick passing. I think you might see maybe some more deep balls here and there, but I think it's going to be quick 1, 2, 3, boom, find your receiver, boom, good dump offs. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with dumping off screen passes to Ezekiel Elliott. He took at 180-something yards. He took 170 yards. So, and then you got say my fullback's name.
Jameis Olawale.
Yeah, Olawale. And then, like I said, they've been moving Beasley outside more. They said they were doing it in practice and all that. I'm just saying they're just trying to do something.
They try.
Just try to do some new things. That's what I'm getting happy about. Okay, you feel me? And. Yeah. I think we're going to be okay. I still am a little worried about that receiving core because, even though everybody's hyping up Allen Hurns, he still was an undrafted guy. He had the one good year. He's got to stay healthy. We still have unknowns in Gallup. He's a rookie. We still have unknowns in Deontay Thomas. Never really blew up. I ain't really talking about no Terrence Williams right now, but we still have a lot of unknowns.
Speaking of Dez Bryant, so this was a subject yesterday. And I feel if I don't mention this with this featured in the thumbnail, people are still going to be questioning me for including this in the thumbnail. So the reason I had in the thumbnail Dez Bryant and Brandon Marshall on there, as some people pointed out, yesterday Brandon Marshall signs with the Seahawks a 1-year, $2 million max deal. That's if he hits on all incentives.
Wow.
So I did a video on this yesterday, but I wanted to ask you guys, What does this mean that Brandon Marshall, who's 5 years older than Dez Bryant, played 5 games last year with the Giants, caught 13 passes, 154 yards, and 0 touchdowns, that he signs with a team before Dez Bryant does? What do you make of that?
You go ahead, Law.
Well, first and foremost, Rock Nation is the horriblest, if I can put those words together, agency out there. I think that any young player that want to play for the National Football League just run far, far away from Rock Nation. They don't know how to represent their client. The second thing is, I think that Dez Bryant shot himself in the foot by speaking out against Jerry Jones and the Gary guys. One thing I do know for sure in life, you do not pick a fight with a billionaire. Once he said Gary guys is also undermining Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is a billionaire playmaker out there making deals. You don't think that one thing that Jerry Jones sitting there saying to himself, okay, you talking about my staff? That means you're talking about me in so many ways, because that's my guy. So the thing is, what I'm going to couple all this together is the fact that now you got Jerry Jones upset, and you got the Ravens deal on the table that went away, which was pretty much what, $9 million a year, or $6 million, $7 million, $8 million a year, $24 million, something like that.
No. It was a 3-year, $21 million with 11 guaranteed, I think.
11 guaranteed, 3 years. So
it was only like 7 a year.
So 3 going to how many years? So that's 7. That's still a lot of money. Because
I'm not doubting that.
Yeah, now the market is what? What did market?
I think Brandon Marshall just kind of set the market with his 1 year, $2 million deal, man. Because you got to look at it this way, man. You have still guys like Eric Decker, Jeremy Maclin, and Dez on the market. First of all, the fact that Dez is unsigned 6 weeks after getting released is mind-boggling to me. I admit.
How's it mind-boggling?
I thought that someone would kick the tires on Dez 2 weeks in. I fully expect him to still be playing this year, but I think, first of all, the timing of All or Nothing is so bad for Dez's situation, because all we're seeing in All or Nothing is all of, his kind of belligerent behavior in practice, his
the cockiness.
Yes, and his like disregard for when a coach is trying to tell him, this was early in the series, but before the Denver game, Derek Dooley is in the meeting trying to tell him about the secondary they're facing, and Dez is just interrupting. I'm like, man, I'm tired of hearing about this. Why don't we just go in there and kick their ass? And I'm paraphrasing to keep the language a little less colorful, but that's basically what I was saying. Dooley's like, dude, what do you want me to say? Like, this is legit one of the best secondaries we're going to face. But at the same time, you got to prepare for him regardless of who it is. You can be beaten any given Sunday. And it's just ridiculous to me. You see that, and then you see everything we see, in the games, whether it's the Seattle game or whatever. It's the timing of all of this, I think, has got to be detrimental to his free agency.
It is, in a sense. But at the end of the day, when he was released, all he had to do, Rock Nation would just put this together real well for him. They said, hey, my client is not going to speak on this matter.
Yep.
His resume would speak for itself. He had 73 touchdowns in the Cowboys organization. That's top from what I know. And then on top of that, my client is in shape. He had a second-year quarterback trying to pass him the ball. The Rock Nation could have did all that talking on that aspect of it. And then all of a sudden, all he had to do was just put out workout videos. He could have still hang out with Odella, you know what I'm talking about. The guy that played for the football for number 13, what's his name for the Giants?
Odell Beckham?
I call him Odella Beckham. He could still be out with him, and that just drew up so much more attention, and he didn't have to say a word. But when he got into his feelings, it was over with.
I think there's more than...
Dez has always been in his feelings, man. I mean, Dez is immature. Let's just keep it real. Like, I said all this when Dez was on the team. I said all this, so can't nobody say, oh, you just bashed me. I said all this when he was on the team, that he was immature. He is 29, 30 years old, and you cannot, like I said, if you've never been a captain on the team and you're supposed to be one of the cornerstones of the team and you were never a captain and you're 30 years old and they still don't look at you as a captain. And I told you, when you look at Dez in his interviews, Dez kills himself, because when you listen to him in his interviews, first of all, he says, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Just listen to him talk. Let's just go out there and just do this. That tells you he doesn't study. Tony Romo saved Dez all that time. It wasn't Dez saving Tony Romo. It was Tony Romo saving Dez because Dez was never a studier when Romo. It was Romo that was doing all that. It was Romo telling you, Dez, you need to go here. You need to do this. You need to do that. And Dez was listening to him because Dez wasn't studying. Okay.
Yeah.
And why do we always, and everybody was always bashing Chris Carter, and yeah, sometimes Chris Carter gets on my nerves, and those guys get on my nerves too. But they know the game of football. He still went to the freaking Hall of Fame, and he was a badass receiver. Because when I watched Chris Carter, he was nasty with the Vikings, and I don't care if I didn't like him. He was a sweet player, and he knew how to play the freaking game. And when he kept on saying Dez didn't know routes and this type of things, that's what's going to hurt you. And then when your head case, when you get cut, nobody is going to put up with that head case crap. And then you don't know anything. Everybody's like, oh, what if he goes to the Pats? What happened with Ocho Cinco? He got cut from the Bengals. He went to the Pats, and everybody thought he was going to blow up. No, he didn't. You know why he got cut? Because he didn't know the plays. He didn't know. That's why he wasn't getting on the field, because he was just living off that ability at Cincinnati, because it was Mike Brown. They weren't sweating him like that. He's just Chad Johnson. And that's what Dez got away with. Like you said, the calling of players, he got away with that. He didn't have to study. The coaches didn't make him do it. He could do whatever he wanted. And now when that time is over, now he's going to have to learn. And now it's too late. Nobody wants to deal with that, because you're a 30-year-old receiver and nobody's looking at you as throwing up the X. Now you're just like everybody else. And that's the cold hard reality of the NFL. 1 minute you can be on top. Ask Sean Alexander, who played for the Seattle Seahawks when he was the Russian champ and MVP. 2 years later, he didn't have a job and he wasn't playing anywhere.
Yep. So also on that, I mean, think about how humbled Dez has to be. He has to be just because of really what he's talking about. Like, so when he gets cut, he tells Jerry, "You're going to see me twice next year." So there's him saying, "I'm going in the division." Within a day or two, all leads within the division went quiet.
Exactly.
He starts working out with Odell Beckham, and he's talking on Twitter about how, you have Eli Manning. First of all, who gets excited about Eli Manning? But you got Eli Manning, you got Saquon Barkley, because everyone knew that's who they were going to take anyway. You have Odell, you have me, you have Ingram as well. Like, he was talking about how just nasty that combination was going to be on offense, and the Giants never came calling, man. Even when he was working out with Odell and posting all those videos, no one cared.
No one cared.
No one within the division cared.
Before you say another word, I'm just going to have to acknowledge, Big Game Jane, you spit straight fire on that whole rant. Yeah, man, that was straight fire. I only classify that as a rant. That was just speaking facts, man. But go ahead, DD.
So after the Giants, then we hear, what was it, Witten, basically, after Witten retired, talking about where he thought Dez would end up. I
think we lost you.
He comes out and says, why would we cut Jordy Nelson? It doesn't. If he's here, great, I guess. But he basically, the franchise quarterback, an elite quarterback, basically said, I'm not really that interested. So that lead goes cold. Then Dez puts out like an Instagram post about how, he wants to go play for the 49ers. He likes what he's seeing with Garoppolo and all that. The next day, the 49ers come out and say, we actually like our young receiving core. We're good. So Dez deletes that post. Everywhere Dez is basically saying, I want that. I want that. I want that. Nobody is listening. Everyone's either ignoring him or they're coming right out and saying, nah, we're all right. That has to be a humbling experience for him. And I get it. Like, Seattle, there was some measure of debate whether they were going to take a Dez or a Brendan Marshall. Dez said it's not about the money. If Brendan Marshall, being 5 years older, coming off the season he had, the injury he had, if you're telling me he signs before Dez, granted, yes, I know $2 million max, that's not any kind of money at all. I'm just saying, if it's not about the money at all for you, Dez, it makes no sense why Seattle would have taken Marshall instead of you. It's about the money on some level. Now,
let me ask you this though. Let me ask you though, DDP, when you're saying if you just throw the money out, I know Brandon Marshall's got 5 years over him, but look at Brandon Marshall's career as far as his numbers, and look at Dez's numbers. Marshall consistently had better numbers than Dez Bryant. And honestly, and this is no knock on Dez, but if I had a choice to pick between Brandon Marshall and Dez Bryant, I would take Brandon Marshall because, number one, I know he's reliable with them hands. He consistently wins on those matchups. So he had a bad year with Giants. I just think that was just I think he's just done.
His
personally.
last year with the Jets wasn't that great either. If you want to look at Marshall's, if you want to look at his last great year, you're looking 2015, in which he had 109 catches for 1,502 yards and a league best 14 touchdowns, which means his most recent good, like really, really good year was a year more recent than Dez.
Exactly.
But
that's what I was
I still got to feel that 5 years thing has to factor in, and the fact that he's coming off an injury, unlike Dez. My point is, Dez wasn't willing to take $2 million or less right now.
Right.
Whether that's pride,
but he
whether
will.
that's whatever.
He will now if somebody come now. I bet you he will.
So the moral of the story is, don't say it's not about the money, because when you're trying to take a 1-year deal, you're trying to prove yourself so you can get a bigger money. You know what I'm saying? Bigger paycheck. And then when you don't want to play for veteran minimum, which I don't say that he should do, because I do think that the guy that got more talent than the veteran minimum, but it's about the money. So. But he shouldn't let his agency do the negotiation of that talk when it's when it's quote unquote about the money.
Yeah. So Dez, he'll sign. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think he's basically biding his time, waiting for some receiver, whether it's in OTAs, whether it's in camp, someone to get hurt, because a team, especially a team that thinks they're a contender or at least playoff contender, is going to be very reactionary when that happens. And he's thinking he can still get a 1-year deal that gets him $6-7 million, whatever. And maybe he can. But the problem with that, you're not working out with the team in the offseason. You possibly are joining the team late in training camp. You're not going to have any time to really get up to football speed with that team. I guarantee if he does that, if he signs that late with a team, waiting for an injury first, he will suffer some kind of hamstring injury or some kind of soft tissue injury that will further then hamper his time to build a rapport with that coaching staff, with that receiving core, and with that new quarterback. It's a risky ass game, I think, that he's playing. And I don't necessarily think, I don't know. He'll go somewhere, obviously. I don't think by any means he's out of the league yet. But he's playing a very dangerous. I think someone's going to kick the tires. He'll eventually.
I think the only way he's going to get signing it, like you said, DDP, if somebody gets hurt, I think that's the only way they're going to sign him, because I think he's just a shell of himself. I think you saw it the last year before that. He kept, honestly, the move when he did off the line, the move he did off the line, the little stutter step move, but those top corners, they know it. They know what he's doing. And when they're calling you out, disrespecting you and calling you out, saying you only know 3 routes, you only know this, I'm not scared of you, I can guard you, and then they go out and do it. Yes, there's been times where Dak Prescott missed Dez and he was open. Yes, I can't even say it wasn't. So not me say that Dez was never open, because that's a lie, because Dak did miss him. But at the end of the day, I just don't feel like if Dez goes to a team and we were to play against him, he's not somebody I'm scared of anymore.
Go back, guys, and watch this film documentary of Emmitt Smith when he played with the Arizona Cardinals, or whatever the Cardinals was at the time, when he played against the Cowboys.
He was done.
He was done. He was like, man, it's too much emotions. He thought for sure. He was trying to put it to us, but he was like, man.
You saw when you saw Emmitt, it's just like when we got Eddie George. It was over.
Right. Ooh, yeah. Man, don't revive him, Eddie.
I'm just saying.
I know.
Like, everybody try to hype when we got Eddie George. Like, no, Eddie George, it was over. And you know when he took the first carry, it was like, oh, yeah, he's done. He's running like 4 9s right now.
Yep.
Yes, indeed, man. So it is what it is, man.
Don't say one.
Go ahead.
You going to say when?
They're up 10. They're up 10 with 2 seconds left, and someone just got ejected for a flagrant foul. So I didn't see who yet. I heard it was a Warrior though.
Warriors.
Who's up 10?
Warriors.
Oh, okay.
Cleveland mustered almost nothing in overtime. I think they've gotten 3 points, whereas Golden State's gotten like 14.
Yeah, because probably LeBron's tired. Like, damn, y'all, can y'all help me out?
I never doubted LeBron would go off. My doubts were his supporting cast, and eventually his body was going to have to wear down a bit. He's got 51, by the way.
Yeah.
51, 8-8.
Nasty. That's my dog.
His next best score that's on the court. J.R. Smith has 10. Regardless, we're not going to go too in depth on basketball.
I got a quick question, y'all.
Hit it.
All right. So, what y'all think about this Lance Lenore kid? You think he gonna make the squad?
That's my pet cat. Even my pet cat.
That was your pet cat last year. Yeah, that was your pet cat last year. No, for sure.
Yes, indeed. I did a film breakdown on him, man. And still a lot of people still watching that film on Lance Lenore. I call him Mini Dez. It's the way he physically attacked the ball while it's in the air. Okay. And his offense release was so great when he played in college. So I just can't wait to see him really get things together. And he's been working out with Dez Bryant and also David Robinson too as well.
Yeah, I think if the receiving core is pretty stacked right now. I know we don't have like a true guy that's like in that number one build, and maybe that's where his opening is. You got like a Noah Brown who's that type of build. How big is Lenoir?
He's about 6'2". He's about 6'2",
okay,
6'3".
So yes. Okay, kid. So he fits in that build. Noah Brown fits in that build. That might be his opening right there for him if he wants to look. If he wants to look at making the roster, that might be his opportunity there. So I admittedly am a little bit out of the loop on him. I remember Law's video from last year, his breakdown. Definitely want to revisit it more, but I'm admittedly enough in the dark about him that to me it feels like a long shot, but I'm just saying that only because I haven't heard more about him.
Let him be a surprise, you know.
Hey, Law.
I will admit when I have no insight on a subject.
Hey, Law.
What's up?
I got a question. This is my dude Dustin Merriman. He's he's so funny. He will not let a question go. He's been asking you for 17,250 years. And I know he wants you to answer him. So he asked Law, why wasn't Kyle Kiro not drafted if you feel like you compared him to an Ed Reed type?
Yeah. Wow, everybody take.
Yeah, you knew that was coming.
Right, and go back and listen to the video. I never compared him to an Ed Reed. I said on that play, he reminded me of Ed Reed. You know what? People just like to put words in people's mouth, but the thing is with that too as well.
They like to shrink quotes to the smallest detail.
Like Law said, he's Ed Reed. I don't know if you see Ed Reed out there.
The Munchers.
The Munchers, the stat Munchers. But shout out to him. I appreciate him watching the video. On Facebook, it got over that's 50, 60,000.
That was a fire video. So, hey, everybody watched it, y'all. You should love it.
But the thing is with it is that he's very instinctive, but he's slow as all a get out. He runs like a 4.75. Some tapes have him running like a 4.8. And what you want to do with that when he's playing safety is you want to protect him. He don't have the range and the speed to play on an NFL level. So what they're going to do with him, they're going to push him a little bit closer to the line, meaning that he's going to be pretty much playing either a Sam or they're going to put him at the wheel. And you're going to see those same traits, explosive, quick, short area quickness. He has that too as well on his gameplay. But the thing is, he just don't have the speed. If he had the speed out there, hell yeah, he'd probably be a real dominant cover-to-cover corner safety. But he just don't have the speed. So there's no Ed Reed in sight.
Well, you definitely had those instincts. I mean, when I watched him, I didn't get to see a lot of him. I was like, when I saw him in the Big Ten, I'm in more Big Ten country, but I didn't see a lot of college football this year. I'll be straight up honest. I didn't see really toward the end in the bowl games. But when I was watching him, I was just like, the first thing that jumped out in my head was how instinctive he was. It was like he knew where the ball was going. He knew angles. He knew where to take it. But just as you said, the speed was lacking. I seen one game where he caught an interception, and he should have took it straight to the house. And he instantly got caught by like a lineman. Like it was like, okay, man, yeah, you could see where he didn't have the breakaway speed, and he wouldn't be able to play on that level as a safety in the NFL. But as you said before, the Cowboys are trying to convert him to more of a linebacker because a 4.7 as a safety, not good. But a 4.7 as a linebacker, especially like a Will where you're on the weak side and you're chasing, that's a good position for you to play, especially if you can bulk up. He wasn't a little guy. If he can bulk up and put a few more pounds on, put him on the weak side, and then the 4.7 looks good, and then the instincts that you saw on the safety position, maybe you can put him at a hybrid position and put him in on those type of positions where he can come in and chase people down and make plays.
Yes, indeed, and shout out to Brandon Newkirk, man, for dropping the $15 in the nation, man, for helping
Nice.
growing the nation. Appreciate it, man. He said, "Brother
Nice.
from another mother."
I like it.
Yes, peace, man. Yeah, appreciate it, man. Yeah, man. You said you spit the truth on that with Cal Q, and my thing is with Cal Q, if he can just figure out a way to make this team, you guys gonna see some instinctive plays out there. Trust me, mark my word.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Very nice.
I really like just to bounce off that. I really, you really it's hard to understand why people get undrafted, but then when you see our guys that we have in the fold, like the Cameron Kelly, I mean the Donald Alawebe, I believe I don't can Alawebe. He came from Portland State. He's on the squad as undrafted. He's about 6'2", 6'3". Richard likes those long guys, and then Kyle Kiro. Then it just seems like we got a lot of guys that we didn't have drafted that actually have opportunity because we give Dallas one thing Dallas does. They'll give you an opportunity. If you're undrafted and you're good, they will give you an opportunity to play and make plays and possibly start on the team. So that has give those guys some inspiration. And I just like how we have a lot of young players. There was an article that was posted from Hellman about our age, and I think we're like around 25, 26 years old as far as that. Our only starter is Sean Lee. He's a 33. I think he's only a 30-year-old on either or starting offense or defense. We only have 3 guys that are 30 years old, and a lot of those guys are in the 25 and below. So that's what you get really excited about. We got a lot of young, hungry guys. If we could just get that coaching staff to put those guys in the right position and coach them the right way, we can be a force for a very long time, man.
Yes, indeed.
Pop quiz.
Man.
Who are the 3 guys?
Which ones?
The 3 over 30. You already mentioned Sean Lee.
Jason, JP Lettershore and Dan Bailey.
There you go.
Wow.
Only 3 guys over 30 on the team.
Yes, indeed. And I know
special teams, and Sean Lee, who is still a beast right now, if he stays healthy.
Still a beast.
Yes, indeed. And I just want to touch on this one little thing. I know we picked up a guy named Eric Pinkins, right?
Oh yeah.
He the guy ran a 4.4, 40. And the thing is, he's the exact same size as Cal Q, but he's one of those guys that he's stiff and he don't have no instinct. So that's just the thing. If Cal Q had his speed, then we talking about a lights out blazing safety. But he don't run a 4.4. Cal Q run a 4.7, 8.5.
Oh, and Law, my guy brought up another guy who I should already remember too, because he's a Texas guy, is Duke Thomas, because Duke Thomas was going to make that team last year. Duke Thomas was going to make that team last year. He's got a good size too. He's about 6'1", about 205 pounds. He was coming at last year, and I was really excited when he was playing in those preseason games. Like, man, he's going to do something. So he's another guy that Dustin brought up, and other people have mentioned. I forgot that he's in the fold of. Man, the competition is going to be so fierce on that back end, on that defensive line, and heck, even the linebacker core. That kid that's been showing up that I've been hearing is that Justin March Lillard. He's been showing up. Nobody's been talking about him. The guy we brought from Kansas City off the practice squad. He's another guy who's been showing up. So it's just really exciting that we got a lot of young guys that are eager to prove something, eager to show what they can do. And like I said, I think we finally got some good, not saying we have bad coaches, but I think we have coaches that are going to make these guys accountable. And we forget about Ben Bloom. He's another young and up-and-coming assistant that has really, the guys have really took to him. So that's what I'm really loving, is the players are really being receptive to the coaching. And it seems like we're getting the best out of them, and hopefully we'll be able to see that in the training camp, preseason, and beyond.
Yes, indeed, man. Hey, I can't wait. I'm going to look up some more of his film, the guy that came from Kansas City practice squad.
Yes, sir.
Is this all the topics for the day, DD?
Yeah, I think that's all we got for that. That's all we had for the run sheet. I know it's late for James and producer G there. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much all our topics for tonight. As we mentioned earlier, we're going to be moving the show to Thursday nights moving forward from our normal Wednesday. So Dallas Prospect Live will be on Thursday nights. Law, tell them where they can find you.
Yes, man. You guys can find me at Laws Nations on Facebook, and that's on Instagram too, as well as Twitter. You guys know where Law Nation at is on YouTube. And also, I just want to give a quick shout out. Just want to make it real quick. I know we got to go, but shout out to Jay Farm, William Miner. Also, who else in there? Sushi 817, Italian Cowboys, Jaron. Everybody that's been with me rolling in the chat box, those who've been watching the entire stream, not watching the basketball game, those been out there with us in the mix, and shout out to those who've been multitasking too as well, watching both and letting us know the score. You guys are much needed out there too as well. Don't forget, guys, share this content, because this is how we can get exposed out there to everybody. Exposure, we need that. So share. Don't forget to like, to share this video. And also, I want to say this thing too as well. It's always best to be seen and not viewed. So I like the guys that's out here watching the show live, like 95. That's all the time I have for today. I really appreciate you guys for yours.
Oh, I love to come with that voice. He always does it.
Big Game James, your turn.
Hey, make sure you check out Silver&Blue Nation, like you know how we always do. Appreciate everybody in the feed. Now, I had to start my feed over, so if I don't get everybody's name shout out, I apologize. But Dustin, Annette, Marcy Shabazz, Russell Harrison, Vondell Jackson, Terry Turner, Katina. Who else was out there? There was a whole bunch of people out there. Let me get some more names because I don't want to forget nobody.
What's up, Marquez?
Hugo. All y'all, everybody who was in there. If I didn't mention your name, I do. I love all y'all. Y'all know that. Check us out every Sunday, 3:35, Silver&Blue Nation. You know how we do. The #1 hottest interactive fan page, Cowboys Out. Check out that Big Game James page, raw and uncut. You know how I do. I say whatever we do, whatever. Just don't disrespect or you get banned.
Yes, indeed. The people's elbow.
You know what I mean? Coming straight off that top turnbuckle. Blow.
Hit him with the elbow.
You know how we do.
Very nice, very nice. All right, and if you guys want to check out more Dallas Prospect, you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, or on Twitter as well. Also, of course, check out the DallasProspect.com, your home for Dallas sports and pop culture. Got everything from Cowboys, Mavericks, Rangers, trying to get some star stuff on there as well. We got Big 12 football. As well on the pop culture side as film, gaming, and music, and much more. So hit us up, support the show, help us grow this independent sports entertainment network thing we got going. We're all excited for what we're building here. This feels like we got some continuity going and everything. So our goal is to be the biggest and best sports entertainment network in the Dallas area. I think we're off to a great start in that. So that's all I got, guys. Just remember, every legend was once a prospect.
Remember,
you know what I'm saying?
You guys are listening to nothing but the best. And shout out to Big Game James DDP. And we forgot, man, Big Game.
Oh, we forgot Voltron.
Voltron.
Oh, yeah, hold on. I forgot my producer G, who always cooking it up. We see, you know why we forget him? Because he's so damn good. He's so damn good. You just forget. See, when you good, you don't never mention them because they just always so good. But we all know who G is. Producer G is the man. That's Voltron. He forms the head. If you ever watch Voltron, I'll do the arms, I'll do the legs, and I will form the head. He knows that's my dog.
Yes, indeed, buddy. We out, man. Salute.
Salute. Peace.